Born and raised in Cleveland, Ohio, the Central Community, as we call the Downaway Projects, Outhwaite to be exact, the first public housing to accept African Americans in the 1930s. This is where the first black mayor, Carl Stokes, was born and raised. His brother Louis Stokes also served 15 terms in the United States House of Representatives. Lonnie Burton served as our councilman in the 80s. So did Frank Jackson. Sarah J. Harper, Dwayne Broder, and many more from the Central Community. The Central Community was once the home of politicians, community leaders, poets like Langston Hughes, who went to Central Middle School, Jesse Owens, the Olympic track star who went to East Tech. But once crack cocaine hit the community in the 1980s, that's when the community took a turn for its worse.
The grandson of Cleveland Mayor Frank Jackson was shot multiple times in the head, arms, and torso, according to an autopsy report reviewed today by 3 News. The records reveal the mayor personally identified the body of his 24-year-old grandson, Frank Q. Jackson, who was killed Sunday night on the city's east side.
Well, tonight, emotional reaction to the decision not to charge the Cleveland Metropolitan Housing Police officers who shot and killed a man last year. For months, a special prosecutor had been reviewing the death of Arthur Keep, how he died, and asking the question, were officers justified in shooting him? January Keaton has reaction from both sides.
And you telling me CMHA police officers need to use deadly force when dealing with people in our community? No!
We used to go outsource to therapists in suburban communities, but now the therapist is coming into impoverished communities. So that's the thing with Ghetto therapy. We bring in therapy to the doorsteps of those who live in poverty. So the reason why I named it Ghetto was because that's where I'm from.
Also developing tonight, Cleveland police investigating after one person was killed and 2 others injured when gunfire broke out at a gas station. This was on Woodland Avenue. Cleveland EMS telling 3 News that one of the victims died at the scene. No word on any arrests as of now.
Breaking news tonight at 6 o'clock. City council members speaking out after a scathing new report exposing lead poisoning in public housing.
This report, people who are living in public housing here in Cuyahoga County are at a greater risk for lead poisoning. Now city council expressing their concerns. After a report at 4, they say they want an explanation and a solution to these health problems.
Now this, a Cleveland woman who's been living in a rodent-infested apartment is now suing the Cuyahoga Metropolitan Housing Authority.
So she and her family, they've been there for the past 9 months, and they say the mice are making them sick. A father of 6 killed while moving out of his apartment.
So it's always a stigma that we don't see therapists inside of these communities, but that's not true. We just don't know that it exists. So ghetto therapy was created for it to exist. Get what I'm saying? And a lot of the times we get pushback for utilizing the word ghetto. But understand that profit is being made off of our social determinants of health in the ghetto. So why would there ever be any pushback off what pays your salary? So many amazing people before me that came out the Central Community, from national authors, mayors, Olympic sprinters. The Central Community has a very rich history. But as you also saw, the not so rich history. The Central Community, you saw the effects of crack cocaine. You saw the direct impact of redlining and what it did to our community. The violence, drug abuse, alcohol abuse, even the mayor's grandson being gunned down. How do we go from this rich culture to this very violent community? The poorest community in the city of Cleveland, at the average resident making less than $10,000 per year. The closing of our grocery store in 2019. And the closing of one of our high schools, Jane Addams, that same year. Surrounding our one high school, East Tech, is 8 prison-based facilities. Majority of St. Vincent Charity Hospital closed, lead-filled apartments. How did our community become filled with so many social determinants of health? So many ask, how did I survive so long in this environment? Well, believe it or not, my childhood and upbringing wasn't so bad. Growing up, being in this environment made me who I am today.
We really moved to the projects because at that time, Outhwaite Homes was supposed to be something very special. It's hard to believe that now, but it was the place to live. In fact, mutual friends would say, oh my, you have moved up in the world. But it was a very special place. It was a place where we were all one big family. The overall environment was so supportive of the children and had such high expectations that we all knew that we were just as good as the next person and could go as far as we wanted it to go if we stayed with the books and if we did what our parents told us.
Would you like to add something?
I was thinking about when we lived here. It was a perfect place to live. You made lifelong friends. All of them, when they left, went out into the world, and most of them became famous, either with music or teaching or something that would contribute both to blacks and to the world. Gosh, if my father had lived through that, he'd have burnt it down. He'd have burnt the Cleveland down. It had a big fire and all that. But we didn't have any kind of problem. It was friendship and fun. And just look at this building. This was the same building that Carl and I used to play ball in. We would hit the ball to the wall and try to run and catch it. We were kids. And it's still a wonderful building. And above, I have the Sarah J. Harper Library, which is a wonderful building. And so you do live in a world sometime all your own.
My name is Tracy Patton, and I am Walter Patton's mom. Walter Patton grew up down the way in the projects, which is where I grew up. I wasn't born and raised there, but I did grow up there as a teenager. So I grew up well, first of all, my grandmother moved down there in 1970s. I stayed with her every summer. I went there every summer. We had a good time. It was so fun. We didn't want to go back home. Then eventually my mom, because we couldn't afford to live in a regular house anymore, we moved into the projects where we could afford, to live. The projects back then was family oriented, and everybody loved each other. The neighbors were able to tell other people's children what to do and not, not progress as a fight. So it was very nice back in the 70s. But once the 80s hit, then that's when it became crack infested. Well, Walter was born in 1985. So between 1980 to maybe 85, 86, I was introduced to crack. Back then we stayed on the compound, and the compound was infested. It was Jamaicans, just everybody that didn't live down there came down there to sell us drugs.
Growing up in the Central community, we did have a lot of trials and tribulations. We did go through a lot of things, but for the most part, I had some good times coming up. Muni League football, basketball inside the rec center at Lonnie Burton. Just all the great things like that, man, that shaped me and molded me. Meeting peers like my brother Chad, that led us into a great friendship until today. So, my upbringing, we had some trials, we had some tribulations, we had some murders, we had some homicides, but we also had some great times, which made us who we is today. So yeah, man, this was years and years ago. I had to be about 9 or 10. I can't remember which one it really was, 9 or 10. But every summer, we would get out of school. I'm in Alfred A. Bennett. I'm on my way to middle school. And every summer, we would come out from the 43rd yard, and we would come to the court at about 10, 11 o'clock and hoop. Because we know we going to middle school, we want to try out for the team, we trying to get a little better. On this specific day, I wanted to get out a little earlier than 10 and 11. I got here at about 9. I'm out here doing crossovers, layups, I'm by myself. I'm just trying to get better and, be better than the competition. But I remember vividly being at this court hooping, and there was two guys across the street. They was arguing back and forth while I'm hooping. Now this happened every day, so we ain't really paying attention to no argument, but you just hear "Wow!" And when you hear the gunshot, I drop the ball, and as I look up, there's a guy falling. And I guess he just shot this man in the head. And when a man dropping, he falling, he died. You could tell he died. So then he comes across, and when he come across, he looked directly at me and asked me, did I see something? And I shake my head no so fast, he shot straight through the yard. And I ran all the way home. And bro, that shit was like so traumatizing, man, forever. And I still think about it. I ain't talk about that until I turned about 15. So mind you, that was like 6 or 7 years it took me to even talk about it, just off the strength of me still seeing that man who committed that murder and shooting that guy in the head right here, man, right here on this spot, right there. I'm at the basketball court hooping, shooting jumpers, just trying to be better and get better, and just witnessing a murder at 9 years old, man. And it was one of the things that I couldn't talk about because, like I said, I would still see that guy. I haven't seen him in forever, but like at the time, that shit was so traumatizing. And that was really like what started off my childhood in the projects and made me see what was going on inside of this environment and my future. I was thinking like, damn, when I grow up, I'm hoping I ain't got to go through no shit like that, you know what I'm saying? That's really what I saw my entire life through the projects. But at 9 years old, bro, like right here in this area, I seen a guy shoot another guy in the head, and that just took a toll on me for the rest of my life, man. So, yo, it's Walter Patton, creator of Ghetto Therapy, and create art, not violence. Today, we got the bouncy houses. We were 2 Fly Mobile, and we also got Crown Me Beauty Spa. We chilling, man. I got a bike giveaway. We'll give away a few bikes to the kids over in the halfway community, a community where I do Ghetto Therapy, and a community where I do create art, not violence. This is our 5th one. And we out here, man. We just having a good time in the central community, down the way projects. Just having a good time with the kids, man, and giving away these bikes.
I remember that. Can you remember that bike?
Yeah, there you go. Remember the bike?
Ride it.
You want this one?
You know how to ride a bike? Ooh, I want a bike.
What you want?
Can I get a blue bike? I want the Evolution Pacific.
This one right here, right?
Yeah.
Go back this over.
You take it out. You want a bike? Grab that one now. You want this one?
Man, it's major shout out to Walt, man. Big free thinker since '87, man. He's been holding it down longer than anyone can ever imagine, man. I'm just proud to call him my brother. He has brought something to our neighborhood that's something that we all need. We need to heal. We need to address our trauma that we are dealing with, those traumas that we have since we were young kids. Man, going to Ghetto Therapy, you can handle those issues. He makes sure he don't just touch on one age group. He got your teenagers, he got your young kids, he got the young adults, he got the adults, he got your parents, he even got our seniors. Ghetto Therapy is a movement that you need to get with, and if you ain't with the movement, you're gonna get passed over. I am proud to support Walt and Ghetto Therapy each and every opportunity that I can. I am so proud of you, brother, man. The work that you are doing does not go unnoticed. You are in the community, helping our people, but most importantly, you're helping the entire city of Cleveland. Ward 5 loves you. I love you, Walt. Anything I can do to support you, keep it up. Walt is bringing in Ghetto Therapy, not just in the city, but to another state near you. Thank you.
So January 16th, 2005 was a day that I'll never forget, man. We was right here at the Lonnie Burton Rec Center. Well, I actually wasn't here. It was a party that one of my closest friends, my cousin, to this day, I still call him that, man. He was murdered right here where you see the splash park at. It wasn't a splash park at one point in time. It was just like a dirt field. So it's a party in Lonnie Burton. 2 rival neighborhoods in the same party. One from Garden Valley Projects, which is like 30 minutes away walking distance. And one is the King Kennedy Projects, which is like 5 minutes away walking distance. So it's a party, they don't get along. But before the party start, my cousin, he called me, Leonard Pesson, he said, Walt, I want to go to this party. And I tell him like, bro, like, the opposition is right down the street, man. I don't feel like you should go there. But then he gave me a story which was true, and it kind of made me fade away from the conversation because he was like, Walt, I play basketball, ain't nobody gonna bother me. And I'm like, true, you know what I'm saying? So I let that go. I get a call, that was like 6. I get a call about 9 p.m. And one of my peers called me and say Leonard Pesson was shot. So they in the house party. I mean, they in the, inside the rec party, and they get into a fight. They come outside and they say a guy pull up. I wasn't there. They said a guy pull up, shoot into a crowd full of Garden Valley guys that were standing on this side. The King Kennedy guys was actually inside the rec, So when they come out the wreck, one of the guys pull up, shoot into the crowd. Everybody run and take off. Lenard Pinson fall, and he gets shot in the head. You know what I'm saying? So that was like my best friend, my cousin, one of the guys that, you know, that really played a big part of my life when I was like 17 or 18. Now mind you, this 2005, you know what I'm saying? So we was young, we was teenagers then, but for him to get hit in the head, man, at an early age, he was just 16 years old. I was 17, I had my first child in January 6th, that was 10 days before. So I'm in a house babysitting, you know what I'm saying? I'm now going into adulthood, but he out here kicking it. And he got hit in the head, bro, and I just wish he would have never came, you know what I'm saying, to the party that day. I'm not gonna say I told him not to come, because I really didn't. I just told him it wasn't a great idea to come. And you know, that's what really kicked off my adulthood, was having my baby January 6th, and then losing my best friend, my cousin, 10 days later, January 16th. That played a big part of my life and how I grew up in these projects, man. And Lonnie Burton was all of our stomping grounds, you know what I'm saying? Everybody kicked it at Lonnie Burton. And it wasn't until he was murdered, I probably took a huge hiatus on Lonnie Burton. I just felt like it wasn't safe, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't no security, it wasn't anything at this point. And for me to lose my best friend and my favorite wreck kind of took me away from it, you know what I'm saying? So now, you know what I'm saying, Lonnie Burton is good, it's cool. But back then, you know what I'm saying, it just wasn't safe. So just, you know, rest in peace to my cousin Nard, man, played a big part of my life. And he's a big reason of why I'm doing the work today, you know what I'm saying? So that's one of the stories I wanted to definitely share with y'all, to let y'all know what shaped my life out, my adulthood. Lenard Pinson, you know what I'm saying, right here, January 16th, 2005. I was telling y'all about the Lenard Pinson situation with the King Kennedy and Garden Valley projects. 3 months later, the hood where I'm from, Case Court, over on Alfway, we had a long feud with the 30th projects, the guys down there on Cedar. And it was a dice game at Lonnie Burton at the park, and everybody shooting dice. So the guys from 30th and Cedar come down here. Now, if you know anything about the beef, all generations fight. You got from like ages from like 9 to 12, then you got ages from like 15 to 17, then you got like 18 to 30. So at this particular time, it was some kids fighting. I'm talking about 9, 10, 11-year-olds out there, they fighting. So we see the guys from 30th coming across, and we coming from the dice game over at the park. And we see the 30th guys, so, you know, one of the guys asked for a gun from my side. So then another guy like, let me see the gun. So the gun get passed around 3 times, and then finally get passed over to my guy, George Randy Hill, which is doing 28 to life right now. You know what I'm saying? He down the road doing time for this. And he takes the gun and he shoots into a crowd. And, you know, it wasn't his intentions to kill an 11-year-old kid, but, you know, the 11-year-old kid was out there. And Randy shot into a crowd and killed Brandon Davis, 11-year-old kid, man. And it was a sad day because, you know, here we are being from the Case Court projects, them guys from the 30th projects, we feuding at 18, 17 years old, and an 11-year-old lose their life. And then Randy ultimately lose his life for a mistake that he made. I talk to Randy a lot of the times now in prison, and he just want a second chance. He want to come home because he made a mistake at the age of 17. You get what I'm saying? So that was in April. That was literally 3 months after the Lenard Pinson incident. We had 2 people lose their lives in the same, what you see now as a water park. This used to be like a dirt field. It was just a big dirt field. And Brandon Davis lost his life right there where you see that shelter. And that's why they put it there, you know what I'm saying, to build the splash park in honor of Lenard Pinson and Brandon Davis. It was built because of these 2 murders. So in 1 year, bro, in 3 months, I had my daughter in January, lost my best friend in January, then the 11-year-old get murdered right here in this same space, man. Like, so this was a lot. These was the incidents that really took my, you know, my childhood, my adulthood, and yeah, bro. So I just wanted to share that with y'all, man, just to show y'all the groundwork of like how ghetto therapy was created, man. It ain't come just overnight, you know what I'm saying? This has been a lot of work put in. There's been a lot of things going on as far as negative homicides, whatever, but this is the field right here, man, where we lost 2 people, 2 young people. Didn't even get a chance to make it to 18.
Hi, my name is Rochelle. They call me Roro. I'm from down the way, from Longwood Heights. I've been knowing Warty. I always call him Warty, since he lived over here with his mama Tracy. She raised him right, and he does everything for the kids. I really appreciate him. He does the kids with the grown folks. He got the ghetto therapy going on. He get the young kids and look out if they need anything. He always there for him. He's an inspiration, and he's an inspiration to me, and I'm 50-something years old. And I mean this from my heart. That man right there, he's a king to me, to all the kids, to all the grown folks, to all the elderly people. He get food, he chop it off at your house. If you can't get out, he go get the bags and bring it to your door. Who does that? That comes from down the way. Nobody but Wardy. I'm being honest because I love you so much. I love you, Wardy. And I appreciate you, trust you, because that's your son, and I gotta put you in it. Down the way for life. Keep it up, Wardy.
And it's like, this is where I stayed at my entire life. When I was telling you the story about me at 9 years old, running after seeing that man get shot in the head. This was the actual apartment that I ran to, 2558 apartment B. So yeah, this is it, 43rd, man. This is where I grew up majority of my childhood. And as we get ready, you know what I'm saying, to go through the yard and just look at where I'm from. My homie, man, like I grew up with a lot of people in this area, and a lot of peers, a lot of friends, but my only homie that really stuck with me through it all, like, has seen the vision, whether it was making music, making short films, all the way up into the therapy service now with Ghetto Therapy. The only homie that really stuck with me was my homie, man, DeMario, Freethinker Chad, you know what I'm saying? So, like, I had a lot of peers through this space, you know what I'm saying? Still got love for a lot of them. It's just that the only one that stuck with me was my homie, DeMario, Freethinker Chad.
Yeah, man, this is it. This is the Mecca though, where we really got to earning our stripes. This is that yard. Like I say, my grandmother lived right here, 2560. She eventually ended up moving up the street, which is still in this neighborhood, still in this complex. We also come from over this side, which is basically the same thing. And it's just beautiful. It's a beautiful thing, man, to see my dog grow, see us grow together. Dodge a lot of the bullshit that was going on through here. That shit still is, but you know, we don't really dibble and dab with what's going on now. But it's just dope. It's just dope for real. It's just dope, man, to overcome all that nonsense and just have something that's worth substance, man, to put out and share, man, and build with the community for real, to be honest. This right here, this porch right here is where I mentioned my guy Lonnie Ronnie, R.I.P. He actually met his wife right here. And they linked and was feeling each other and did something special before he passed. I'm proud of him for that though. R.I.P. Lonnie Ronnie, he was in this apartment right here, B. This is actually where I actually grew up here. I came over here a lot in the 90s. My you could say my godmother, my mother good friend, kind of like family. Tina, she lived over here back in the 90s, so I was coming over here before I actually even moved over here as a kid. And that's this next porch right here coming up. This whole strip, man, it's just more and more memories, more and more memories. More and more stumping grounds that me and Walter went through, stumped through, dice games in every yard, backyard. I mean, we had, we got Candy Ladies across the walk right here. Daytona was probably first with it. Tracy came and did something special with it with the nachos. And everything else, shout out to her and her dude, they sold everything out the window, man, like a mom and pop store. So that was always dope, but yeah, just plenty memories, man, in this yard, on this side, out the way, just case court in general. And I honestly feel like this is the best projects down here. Not to be biased or nothing, but it's just full of talent, just full of waviness. It's just different over here, for real.
There's generations of trauma down the project, which they call down the way, which is Short Scoville, Central, which is Outhwaite, Carver Park, King Kennedy, 30th. You know, we were all separated, but in reality, we was all one. You know, we should have been separated. our children would fight against each other, kill each other, and we all live in an impoverished community, trying to survive. Instead of killing each other, we were supposed to be level on each other. And so now, this is what we're trying to bring back to the community of Ward 5, which is called Down the Way Projects. But the community of Ward 5 is more than just the projects, but the most impoverished part is the projects, which is Southwood Homes in Carver Park, King Kennedy, 30th. You know, instead of things changing, it seems like it's getting worse because the generations is different. When I grew up down there, it was of course, it was older generations. Everybody cared for each other. They helped fight for each other. You know, now we have to try to help this new generation know that it's okay to deal with your trauma. That's the only way you're going to heal, to live productively, is if you get help, the help that you need.
Yep, so I went here, man, from preschool all the way up into the 5th grade. I had some of like my best moments here. I had teachers like Mrs. Witherspoon, Miss Boyd, Mr. Boyski, and Mr. Melton. Those were some great teachers that I had. This probably was the best school that I've ever been to, man, when it comes to like family, when it comes to students, like everybody getting along. So yeah, I had some of my best years in here from preschool all the way to the 5th grade, man. This was like my childhood. I spent in Alfred A. Bennett. So yeah, I just wanted to explain that, talk about my childhood and me going to the school and having all them great moments inside of Alfred A. Bennett, working with these amazing teachers. We had a great principal by the name of Mrs. Warren at the time. So yeah, this is what it was. This is the school I went to, elementary. Spent all of my childhood here, and just happy to come back and do Ghetto Therapy. The therapy service that I created and bring it back to my old elementary school was the most important thing. So that's what I'm doing, just giving back, bringing back free and open to the public mental health services from licensed professionals to Alfred A. Bennett, Ghetto Therapy.
The organizers of a free weekly event in Cleveland bring mental health resources to impoverished neighborhoods. News 5 anchor DeLon Dillard told us all about it last year.
And tonight, he's learned the event has become so popular that it's gained the attention of Cleveland Clinic.
The room is packed, ears are open, and expectations are high. And this weekly event's organizers know everyone in this room will walk away lighter. Wednesday night was the first time Walter Patton partnered with Cleveland Clinic for his weekly free therapy event called Ghetto Therapy. He tells me a clinic employee connected with him late last year.
Ghetto Therapy wasn't created overnight. It wasn't successful right away. I had to get it out the mud. I went through every emotion building this therapy service. No money, no space, no support. I remember being outside with it. But what started me on the path to creating Ghetto Therapy was a career readiness program by the name of Towards Employment.
So my name is Greg Reeves. I'm the coordinator of Alumni Collective. And I remember somebody had mentioned to me about Ghetto Therapy. I'm like, Ghetto Therapy? Like, sound like some type of raggedy rap group, right? But I look on IG, because most of the people that I deal with in my life are true. They're not just going to say something to me to be saying something to me. And once I got on IG, and then I had to go to YouTube, and I'm like, I got to get this dude. I had no idea he was an alumni. It wasn't until I had a discussion with Ronnie about bringing Ghetto Therapy here, I found out not only was he an alumni, his mother was an alumni, his auntie, his brother, and I'm like, oh my God. Yeah, so I grabbed both of them.
Yo, it was Walter Patton, creator of Ghetto Therapy. We here today at Towards Employment. I came through here in like 2013, man. Fresh out of prison, didn't have any like angle, no vision to go. I came here looking for work. So when I got here, it was like a 4-week program. My facilitator was I think it was like Miss Shepherd. And if anybody know Miss Shepherd, they know she go hard, she's very hard on you. And then you would think that it was, it was a bad thing, like, man, she too hard on me, I'm ready to quit. But when you get off into the life, like I'm in now, a nonprofit and doing the work, mental health, and all of this, it meant everything in the world. So now, like somebody like a Mrs. Shepherd, you know the meaning of that, right? So again, I didn't have any job. I graduated the program, went straight over to Sodexo, which now it is called Evergreen. I worked there 6.5, almost 7 years of my life. So this Towards Employment is really the stepping stone for me to create Ghetto Therapy in a space like this. This was the first nonprofit that I got involved with. They got me together, like job readiness, workforce development. I I graduated, I didn't even have anything to wear, bro. They gave me a suit and a tie, and you know, this is the stepping stone. So yeah, coming back towards employment to do ghetto therapy is important to me. Just like I went back to my elementary, went back to my old job. Now we right back here at towards employment. And shout out to my bro Greg Reeves, who set it up for me, brought me in as an alumni, and I'm just happy to be here with ghetto therapy.
I can recall Walt coming into my office and telling me that he was going to resign. And I thought that it was probably an emotional decision because Walter had been with us. I mean, he had been promoted. He was working as a truck driver during his last position. And I was thinking, hey, this is an emotional decision. I know that he was really involved in the community and he was just looking to grow his business further. So I said to Walt, think about this through the weekend and come back to me. I really want you to think about this. Because, Walt, to me, he had been here, he hasn't been in any trouble, so I just wanted to make sure that he really thought about his decision. So the next week he came back and he said, yep, I'm resigning. And he said he thought about it, he prayed about it, and he slept on it, and that was his final decision. And at that moment, I knew there was no more convincing Walter. I knew that he had knew where he wanted to go, where he wanted to elevate to. And, seeing him leave and thrive with this company, Ghetto Therapy, it has been so rewarding for me because, again, I saw when he had initially been released from prison, worked his way through the company, and now receiving multiple awards and recognition throughout our community. That's such a success story. And it goes with, our mission here again of reducing recidivism. Walter's story has been such a success for us, and just watching him in the community that often now we invite him back to speak to our employees and motivate our employees because, again, we are a second chance employer, and oftentimes people with backgrounds think that they can't go further. So Walt has been invited on many occasions to come in and provide therapy sessions to our employees. He comes in to motivate our employees and share his story of how he started and up until where he is now. So Walter has been just, again, an overall great success story for our company.
So Wednesday evening, this mother making her way to the 4600 block of Euclid, gathering with dozens of people who are seeking healing from trauma, some trauma like gun violence. Walter Patton created this weekly event that he calls Ghetto Therapy.
I used to come out every day into my front yard and just see these teddy bear visuals and bottles everywhere. You know how that go when you ride through the inner city and you see all these memorials for death.
Every Wednesday evening at 6 p.m., Patton brings in 4 licensed therapists, creating a space for his neighbors who hear and see so much to just breathe and talk.
There's a stigma in our community that says that people in the inner city, impoverished communities, don't go to therapy. So I said, since we don't go, how about I bring them here?
Billy Gillum is one of the 4 licensed therapists unpacking the trauma.
They are memorials, and we get so used to seeing that. And we get so used to seeing that to the point where we're desensitized to it. It's just a thing that we drive past.
Patton also bringing in occupational therapists, like this woman who's using sound bowls.
If that becomes something that's normal, just as normal as seeing a stop sign, then we are holding on to all that trauma and we're not processing it. So especially in this neighborhood where we see that on block to block, that trauma needs to be processed.
Such a relief that y'all follow me with the moving and energy stuff. Okay, so let's see. I'm a therapist. I've been doing these sort of modalities for a while in the schools, in the hospitals. And what we find is that everybody can use a way to move their own energy. It holds us accountable, right? It's a tool that we can use on our own. something to do to help to calm the nervous system and regulate emotions. Sometimes we don't have the words for what we're feeling, we just feel it and we're explosive. So it's a way to tap into the body, bring body awareness, and center yourself.
The consciousness let anxiety use embarrassment to boggle up his feelings. So that's deep, man. You got anxious and then the anxiety told you that you're gonna be embarrassed. So to prevent yourself from being embarrassed, embarrassment boggles your feelings up.
Again, we could be living through life just through our perception of our lenses. Doesn't mean that it's right or wrong, and doesn't mean that other people's perspectives are wrong as well, but it's just, you know, your way of living and whatever it is that you saw and how you were raised and what the learned environment brought to you.
There's a difference there between, you know, just wanting to survive and knowing nothing else but trying to survive. And I think that's what is such a struggle with so much of our youth, is survival mode is norm. And it's difficult to speak or introduce anything that can penetrate that, you know, protectiveness.
Peace and blessings. My name is Jerome Cash. I am a licensed professional counselor. I'm a trauma-informed care therapist. And ghetto therapy is important for me because I believe in community, I believe in brotherhood, I believe in service and helping out our people who need the most help, which is the individuals in the inner city. And we need people to come together, we need leaders to come together in order to unite and build the bigger purpose, you know, build our bigger purpose of why we're actually here and carry out the works of our ancestors. So ghetto therapy is a free, safe place. I've never seen anything like that in a community or anywhere where Black people come together and talk about mental health, talk about their experiences, talk about their traumas and heal together. So this is something that is needed. This is something that feels so good. And even as a therapist, I'm able to come here in this space and heal for myself. So this is something that we need as Black people, and I just pray that we continue to serve our purpose and carry out the message that we're meant to be destined for.
So even though it's family, which is the exterior, we got to work on ourselves as an interior individual. Secondly, we got to accept what it is and what it isn't. You know what I'm saying? So you can't force your family members to do something, to come join you this and join you that, you know what I'm saying? But
the biggest thing for your mental health is to dissociate yourself from your family, right? Because those relationships aren't important. So I do want to acknowledge that sometimes the family structure of all of our families isn't the same, and you could have put in effort and you continue to get hurt. So if that's your struggle, figure out a way to protect your mental health that said, yes, you're my family, but if I continue to overexert myself as I have been, I will continue to fail myself, and I cannot afford to do that. So love your family appropriately by honoring yourself and honoring those who love you, because sometimes family don't show up or love us the way that we need them to. My name is Maisha Watkins. I'm a licensed social worker for the state of Ohio. And ghetto therapy is important to the community because it really is one of those situations. If not ghetto therapy, then what? It's a free and open to the public therapy space where Black and brown people come together week after week after week, every Wednesday from 6 to 8 in several communities in the city of Cleveland, really to just build community, talk through their successes, their challenges, their crises, their celebrations, where you feel seen, where you feel heard, where you feel supported, and where you want to continue to go back. That type of therapy isn't offered anywhere else like that in the country, where you don't need insurance, you don't have to travel outside of your community. You can show up in your bonnet, in your pajamas, in your freshest outfit, and still receive healing and support from people that look like you, that talk like you, that have lived and shared experience similar to you. So if not ghetto therapy, then what? I'm glad that we'll never have to find out. Even before the money or the awards came in, he was still doing the work. So he's already crowned the Community Activist of the Year. So I just want to celebrate him in advance. And we'll continue to celebrate. celebrate at the blackout party that's open to everybody this Friday at 7 p.m. It's gonna be a good good project time. I was like, ooh, we get to be on the wall like this.
Yo, it's Walter Patton, man, the creator of Ghetto Therapy, the first ever free and open to the public mental health therapy service in the ghetto. Any community that you consider the ghetto impoverished, that's where we want to be, man. Locked in. We here at the Blackout, up here at Breakthrough Studios, man. We partying, selling a gang of merch, just having free drinks, free food, celebrating Mental Health Awareness Month, celebrating the frontline therapists, the holistic healers, the frontline leaders in the city of Cleveland. And we just want to award them and appreciate, have a good time today, man. Blackout, Ghetto Therapy.
But I seen Quali, my grandson, on that picture, and Walt has always been a passionate man, and he know I'm gonna be real with him. And like I told him, you can't take the ghetto out of people, but Quali got caught up. And I told Walt, when I seen him come into that hearing that day, I knew then my expectations. Because Walt, he's a shining light. And I tell people all the time, you're busy with your children. I understand this guy. I said, because he is a passionate type of guy. I said, he don't seen a lot, and he will do a lot for your children and yourself. But all y'all got to do is just be real with him. And I'm talking about understanding is the best thing in the world. He took my grandsons and he took them with him everywhere. And they walked through the streets of the projects. And I love that stuff. I love that in Walt. And every time Walt come down, he's like, hey, Miss Glover, what's up? I said, Walt, come in. I said, I got to tell you, I see a lot. I don't have no peace, Walt. I need peace. In my older age, like I tell, I got peace now. All right. I got peace. And I thank you, Walt.
Dear Mom, you are the best mom ever. You have your own hustle and all.
Dear Mom and Dad, I know you have had some bad times and some good times, but the thing is that those good times have outnumbers those bad times.
A letter to my people. I have learned from them and what not to do and what is needed to be done, responsibilities that what you taught me. It's times where you have even learned from me from doing the simplest thing of just breathing.
Dear Mother and Father, I thank you for your unconditional love. I thank you for your support, even though we may not see eye to eye all the time.
Dear Mom, I know how much pain how much pain you're going through to thrive for me and my sister.
Some of you may know me, some of you may not. I am a native of 105. I grew up right here. I spent most of my life, most of my time on 105. Coming up on 105 was not all bad, but it wasn't all good. And I did endure a lot of trauma. And these type of spaces were not available to us. So I just want to say thank you again to you, Walter, for allowing us to introduce Ghetto Therapy to 105. So can we give it up
for me? We came back together working with the young people at the Juvenile Justice Center on 93rd. And so whenever you're doing good work, you always run into good people. If you do greater work, you run into greater people. And he's one of those people. So he always has my support in anything he does. And I hope you all continue to support Ghetto Therapy. Thank you, Brother Walter.
I came because when I first saw the word Ghetto Therapy, I was a little thrown off. And I said, why would anybody want to be associated with that word? However, when I came here and heard him speak on why he chose that, it was spot on. Because it doesn't matter where we came from. It matters what you're doing in the future. And all of us, our grassroots are in el barrio for Puerto Ricans, the ghetto, and it's just amazing to me. I feel so emotional now because the energy was so positive, so strong, so real, and I'm so glad that I came tonight.
I love Down the Way Projects. Y'all, I claim it. I'm not ashamed, you know, but I know where I come from and I will never forget. And that's why my son, you know, Walter, he'll never forget. He grew up down there. It was rough. It was kind of tough for him down there, but we managed, and we're here now to create change.
Hey man, this is Outweight. We over here on Case Court. Been in this environment my entire life. I'm like a fourth generation from my great grandmother Lula Patton to Barbara Patton, Tracy Patton, now me. I mean, we've been in this community my entire life. I'm 36 years old. I've been here for 36 years. So this is where I grew up at. This is where I continue to stay. This is where I'm gonna be. This is where I do like all of my youth programming, man. All my childhood memories is here. Lonnie Burton playing football, basketball. I mean, whatever you can imagine. I went to East Tech, Alfred A. Bennett, and Central, all the schools in this community. So just growing up in this environment, seeing the homicide, seeing the drug abuse, the alcohol abuse, seeing the motherfuckers getting high off water, coming around, running around naked. It's really like how I created Ghetto Therapy, man. Like honestly, seeing all the extra shit that was going on in here, we was just smoking and drinking the alcohol. And what I wanted to do was just create something to, you know, a different coping mechanism besides that, because once that shit was wearing off, the problems were still existing. So I really wanted to create a space, a safe space in the ghetto. It started off, Ghetto Therapy started off like right here, and like what y'all just seen in that middle yard, like behind us, it started off right here, and it was just really for us in the projects. But it just spread, you know what I'm saying? It was like a domino effect. Somebody told somebody else, and that person told somebody else. And now Ghetto Therapy is probably the greatest mental health space we have in the city of Cleveland. Ghetto Therapy, man, was created for the people, you know what I'm saying? Ultimately, for myself, I needed it the most from my peers, you know what I'm saying? Growing up in traumatic environments, you know, we needed a space, we needed a platform, so Ghetto Therapy was created just for the people and just giving us that space. You know, we was smoking, we was drinking, but after the high went down, the problems were still there. Get what I'm saying? So that's why Ghetto Therapy was created. Now we get 40 to 50 residents a week. And then in the wintertime, it spike up to about 75. We get 100 people sometimes. So, you know, for a mental health therapy service, and these people coming in here, explaining their problems, you get what I'm saying, doing everything the right way and just trying to, you know, live better lives, productive lives inside of our communities. Some people got employment out of the situation, you know what I'm saying? It's just all around benefit for everybody. But for personal use for me, like as I explained, how everybody benefits from Ghetto Therapy, you know what I'm saying, receiving the resources from the therapist free and open to the public. But for me, my biggest accomplishment for Ghetto Therapy was winning an actual like NAACP award. You know what I'm saying? NAACP reached out to me and told me they wanted to reward me for creating this free and open to the public mental health therapy service. In fact, the first free and open to the public mental health therapy service with non-licensed professionals, man, that's, you know, in the community. They look like us, they live in our environments, and they're here week in, week out. Over the last 3.5, almost 4 years, we only missed 3 Wednesdays. That's 1 week out the year. So we've been consistent. You know, that's the only space in the city of Cleveland, the state of Ohio, that's a free and open to the public mental health therapy service. I've won several awards, 11 awards, plus this NAACP award. But the reason why it means so much to me, because you got people like Tyler Perry, Oprah Winfrey, you know, people that you look up to and see on television every day. They won NAACP awards, right? So for me to win one, being from the projects, Central Community, Cleveland, Ohio, where we hardly get any publicity outside of negativity, was some of the biggest things that ever happened for me. Like, I don't know nobody that won the NAACP award, right? So it meant everything to me. To meet Michael Dyson that day, he was kicking the knowledge. You know how he get when he started talking. And it was big, man. You know what I'm saying? So just being the NAACP award winner, the first of my family, the first of my projects, the first of my generation, was big for me. So that's why I always talk about Walter Patton, the creator of Ghetto Therapy, NAACP award winner, because it means that much to me, because I seen the greats before me, they won that, so now I won that. It's just big.